Hey everyone, it's Sean from Sean's DIY and Reviews, and today I actually have a lens review, and in order to do this I'm actually going to compare, and tell me in the comments whether you think this is a fair comparison. I think it's probably not, but at least in the size range it is. And actually maybe I'll do another comparison as well to my 50mm, if that makes sense. But I just got this Sigma 17 to 50 2.8 lens. So you might say, well, if I buy my Nikon camera or even my Canon camera, in my case I'm using Nikon, I will get a 18 to 55. So if this is 17, which is a tiny bit smaller, to 50, isn't it the same range? Well, yes. And that's why I'm going to do a comparison with this to my kit lens, which is the 18 to 55. And the reason why this lens was important is because of how wide the aperture is, which is, you'll also hear how fast the lens is, because what that means is you can lower the shutter speed to make it faster because of the wide aperture of the lens. So essentially with this lens, I wanted something that I could shoot video with, and I'll do samples as well toward the end and finishing up this video, where I could actually use a close-up lens but still have a nice quality shot. I have a 55mm 1.8, which is a lens I highly recommend. 35 1.8 is fantastic as well. I understand just the different focal length between the two of those. But there's no zoom, so pretty much the size you get is the size you get. And if I wanted to do, talking to you type of or vlog videos on that lens, it's pretty much impossible because you'd have to put the lens halfway across a room as opposed to having it right next to you. And when you have a situation like that, it's kind of more difficult. So you can use your kit lens, your 18 to 55, but the quality of that lens is okay for just general pictures if you're really a novice. But if you want to get a nice crisp picture, you need something better. So with that, we're going to go ahead and test this lens out in comparison to my 18 to 55. On this channel, I do a lot of DIY around the house type of projects as well as tech reviews. So here we go. The first thing you'll notice between these lenses is the major difference in size. So you're thinking, okay, well, why is this one so darn big when it's kind of the same range? And the reason why is the glass. You have to have much bigger glass in order to accommodate that wide aperture that this doesn't have. And if you feel this lens, it's actually quite heavy. If you feel this lens, it's super mega light. So glass being in here is much more impressive. And if you're interested in this lens, I would definitely, I'll link in the description below where you can check it out. This particular lens is designed for Nikon, and it is for crop sensor cameras. So the D3200 series, the D3 series, D5 series, as well as a number of other ones. If you're a full frame camera, I'm not clear that this one would work for it, but if you know, definitely put in the comments below. So let's actually get down to trying these out and showing you what they can do. Okay, so the first thing I did was set up my camera here on my tripod, and I put the Sigma lens on here, and I set up a little plant right here on the edge of this rocking chair thing that I have. And then I went over here and set this up on my camera. So as you can see right here, I have it on shutter speed of 1/200th, which I could probably go down lower than. f2.8, which is the widest aperture this goes, so it's very, very large opening on the front of the lens. And I have my ISO as low as it can go at 100. And when I do that, this is the picture that you get. And so you see that picture right there. So what I'm going to do is go ahead here and change my shutter speed down a little bit so that it'll actually be much faster, 1/500th of a second. And that's what you get with that particular shot. Now I'm going to show you the same shots on the kit lens. Okay, so now I have the kit lens on, and unfortunately you can't get down to the 2.8. The lowest you can get is 3.5 on this. So essentially I'm just going to take the same picture with the exact same settings, the maximum aperture with the 1/500th and the ISO at 100, and you'll be able to see that this is the picture that I get. Clearly darker than what the other one did. So now what I'll do is I will go ahead and adjust this back to the 1/200th. And that's the picture you get with the kit lens right there. So now we're going to go ahead and put the Sigma lens at a 3.5, and I'll take a few other shots. And you're going to And so I just adjusted my f-stop down to 6.3 because the brightness was a little bit high to try to get to the right shutter speed for video. But I'm going to go ahead and set this up real quick here. Here's some video I'm going to do right now, right in front of the lens. And at 18, I'm literally about a hand's width, maybe about that away from this. So that's the benefit of this lens as opposed to the 50 millimeter, which just would require me to be, well, I'll zoom this into 50 and you'll be able to see. So if I'm at 50, standing where I was before, this is where I'd have to stand for 50. So significantly further away. When it comes to 18, I can be this close to the camera. So that's the reason why the versatility of this lens is nice. You could actually have it right to where I could touch the lens from where I'm talking to you. So with that, what do you think of this lens? Is it a lens you have? Is it something that you'd look to consider buying potentially? I highly recommend this lens. I've done a lot of research, and for the focal length that it provides, for your typical, if you had to have just one lens, this might be the one. Although potentially the Nikon 18 to 105 might be a good option, as well as the Sigma, if you need something that's, you know, really larger range. But if you want something that's crisp, something that's good quality for doing vlogs and that type of thing, you can't really go wrong with this. This is definitely maybe the second or third lens in your arsenal. Probably I'd say this as your primary replacement for the 18 to 55. And then maybe a prime lens, 50 or 35 millimeter, and also, you know, maybe that extended length lens would be round out a kit for somebody. So let me know if you agree, disagree in the comments. If you learned something, definitely give this video a thumbs up. If you like this, you like the content I have, check out my other lens videos, but also, you know, definitely consider subscribing. Tell me what you like, what you don't like in the description below, and we'll definitely see you in the next video. Thanks.